All right, I'm back.
Welcome back. We have just gone live.
From the Mic Check channel?
Yes. I was getting I was not quite sure when you were getting back. And
Great.
this was also a
Hello,
test to make sure
everyone.
that I had the right keys to actually take us live. All right, if you want to take us away.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This is your Squid in the Sea Cephalopod Wizard here with the Districts Online Tournament. With me today is
Eli, hey.
And manning the stream from the shadows also is
Myself, Threntar.
And we are here we're here to see some good Netrunner. We've got a very advanced metagame to work with here, but I expect to see some exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think particularly because this is right before, all of the FFG cards rotate and a lot of wacky stuff is leaving. I think everybody's trying to put in their last hurrah for the funky decks.
Banhar Steve, you'll never see criminals taking net damage again, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I believe the deck of the week is wasn't a Banhar Zaya, but or maybe it was Zaya, but yeah, also putting it in other criminals too. I think a lot of criminals are liking that archetype of, hey, what if I just spent my influence on steel skins?
It's a really clean influence spread.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like you can also play some of the whatchamacallit, yeah, and you have all the what's it? Cybernetics, all the cybernetics in faction. Oh yeah, it's a Manuel deck, so yeah, it's still pretty wild, but it's a fun, yeah, it's like, hey, what if I just didn't die?
Yeah, and so it comes with some interesting change ups as to what are the problems your deck's going to face, because you are Steve, you get to get stuff back, but then you're playing criminal, and are you still playing one of breakers? I have no idea. I haven't seen these deck lists in action so much.
I mean, I think you can. I think part of the point of it is sort of echoing sort of the siphon decks of the past in a sense. I think just like spending influence on Steelskin in criminal, I think that also just like criminal is so hungry for card draw. Ever since we lost DreamNet, it's always just like a struggle of like, okay, I have Class Act, and then what else? But yeah, and then like on the corpse side, I know Ob is. I think there was one tournament. I think it was last weekend. Like all of the top cut was Ob. It was either Ob or Outfit.
Yeah, I was hearing of a depraved UK meta at one tournament where every single deck was trying to murder the runner.
Yeah, yeah, and it's always Ob too. I think it's funny because in the US it's similar, but I think we tend to the PE decks sometimes or the Ag decks. But yeah, it's definitely always Ob in the UK.
Well, we always have to give a shout out to the other decks that might be trying to kill you. Maybe we'll see Barf Thule as a throwback. We're losing. No, we're not losing Full Sleeve. That is staying because that was a reprint.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some people playing Hungeki in certain HB decks, whether it's Thule, whether it's Sports, like that's a card that people are trying to say, oh, nobody, this is going away.
Oh, that's dirty. If you have to try to pay the Thule tax on the corpse turn.
Right. Yeah, it's very I think it's very silly. Um but yeah, I think it's been there's just a lot of weird stuff going on right now. I know with Jinteki it's like people still trying to get the most out of ag and punitive and all the silly PE decks as well. But I
Yeah,
think
we do have to keep in mind that EA kill decks on punitives and just 3-pointers has been a recent staple, and that also might have to change if when punitive goes. So we might be seeing some interesting decks there.
I believe
We'll see the same decks, but
I believe first round pairings are up.
excellent.
Looks like it's in pretty even faction split, although definitely a lot of win. I mean, the other thing about Ob is that Ob's going to be losing its best card of all time.
Yeah.
Border Control.
Border Control is going to be a tough one to replace. And I'm still trying to get myself to the tournament. I don't have the right tabs open yet.
But
all right. Pairings.
See.
What do we have here? I see an Arizona. Haven't seen so much of that. We have Near Earth. I see Near Earth Hub. I see
Providence.
Personal Evolution. I see someone with no identity listed on the corp. That we'll see how that can go.
I'd be interested in seeing. I'm actually kind of tempted the RH versus Arizona. That seems interesting to me.
All right.
Maybe the
on table 5.
Yes, I believe that's table 5.
Yeah, I'll pop in and see if we can stream that.
Yeah, because I think Shaper is not completely lost without Trick Shot, but I'm always interested to see, RH as opposed to playing Ag or PE. There's always something tricky going on.
All right, game's not quite up yet.
Okay. Yeah, you got a lot of variation. I think a lot of people are also sort of falling back on the reg host as well, because you see a decent amount of hosts today.
Oh, whoops. I went into the wrong table. I've accidentally asked table 15 if we can stream them. Well, it would be awkward to back out now, so I guess we're on table 15. Sports Metal versus Arizona.
All right, we're going to stream on table 15.
Yeah, let's go on to table 15. So Sports Metal has been a long and fascinating deck that keeps getting stuff banned out from under it. First they banned Game Changer, and then it turns out you also had to ban Project Vacheron because the games went so incredibly quickly that it was just a 0-pointer for the runner.
Yeah, and like I said, there's been people playing Hungeki out of Sports, which is silly, and I think Sports is still pretty good.
And then, of course, today there's some depraved new builds coming out of Sports Metal where people are playing Amani Sinai. And whenever
Yeah.
you take that swing of touch an agenda, the corp gets 2 of something, you also lose at least 3 credits.
Yeah, no,
course.
it's definitely yeah, Amani is another card that I think is such an FFG era card that people are wanting to get the most out of before it leaves. And then I think on the other side with Arisana again, I think without Trick Shot, you're losing a little bit of something, but I think also just the ice that Sports tends to play is not super difficult to get through. Like there's, it's pretty easy to sort of either get a remote lock or just kind of, with what's it called? The indexing thing. I can't remember what it's called.
Cataloger.
Cataloger. Yeah, with Cataloger in particular, it's very easy to make these sort of precision runs, and with so many agendas, it's not that difficult to find one. But I'm
And of
interested to see
course-
what either side is doing.
Yeah. And of course, they didn't ban Fisarm Entangler, so a lot of the scariest sports ice still goes down to Fisarm Entangler.
Yeah. Fizerum is definitely, and I mean, you usually expect to have a virus in sports anyway, but I know that a lot of shapers have been dropping Clot to spend influence on, influence-worthy cards, right?
Yeah. Speaking of cards that are going, Claude is going. But of course, we've gotten much better HQ pressure coming in the day. Or much better HQ pressure that's been printed over the recent couple of sets. Because back in the day, the problem you would have is that it was really hard to actually stop the corp from just fast advancing out of HQ. So you just had to put this counter spell on the table.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I think it's interesting because I think that people, I don't know, it's an interesting balance because I think Clot is still necessary because I think, especially since people are splashing Audacity in sports, like I think that if you can play Clot, you should. But for Arisana in particular, there's so many nice things you can spend that influence on, right?
Yeah. Fisarm Entangler is real good.
Yeah,
I'd go to
or
a
even
second copy.
or even
sometimes.
Botulus,
Speaking of cards that are going away that people might be playing for the last time, Audacity.
Oh yeah.
It's wildly undercosted. I put together some historical deck lists, so I put together Hivemind Max and Blame Changer, which is
Yeah.
and that deck is just playing 3 Audacities.
Yeah. No, I think that I remember Titan as an ID. Looking back on it now, it's like, yeah, Titan's got 17 influence. You got your Atlas train, but it's like, was it necessarily Titan? I mean, Titan was pretty broken, but maybe there was another card. I guess people just didn't want to get rid of Audacity,
Yeah, so a friend of mine is pioneering an Eternal Singleton format, and I tried Titan, where you can only have 1 Project Atlas, and I thought, wow, this is awful. Your ID doesn't do anything.
Imagine
This is
having
where you
3.
Yeah. And Wayland has a fair number of agenda counters. You got your high risk investment. Click a button, get the runner's money. But stream played both decks exactly twice. That's okay. We are here to goof off and start with 3 new remotes, and the runner has to either touch them all or go set up your long-term plans. So I'm betting Sports gets away with something.
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
I
don't know. Both. Oh. Well.
See, Mr. Hendrick, Perfect amount of clicks, though. We've got one left.
Nice.
So it looks like we're on core damage Sports Metal.
Yeah.
And once you get the core damage, they're going to start fast advancing ontological dependencies.
Yeah. Interesting to see Mamie out of Arasana. Then you have your Elevigao.
And despite having 0 credits upon scoring that bifurcation, draws cards.
Yeah. Yeah, both players kept their hands, so clearly something sneaky coming around. Yes, definitely the Core Sports, the Moonpool build.
And
And this game going fast.
In the corpse hand, we saw a fast break. So it looks like perhaps we can expect some negative agenda points too, because this powers up directly off the number of agendas in the runner score area, and that can be a big operation. Check in HQ, see fast break again on the first one. Feels like something that might have a trash cost if it were printed by NSG.
Did they triple advance the Elevigao? Jai just pointing out, did we triple advance an Elevigao? I think they might have just clicked for a credit first, but
let me see. Yeah, that was a triple advance on the Elevigao.
All right.
Sometimes it's about sending a message.
Yeah. But
oh yes, Darjin pointing out Giordano is Sport's best upgrade. It is such an upgrade. It's not cheap to get rid of either.
Yeah. And then putting down the revolver. Don't want any nasty little drafters, because I think drafter is usually the best card you can get out of sports in general.
Rashida goes down to the pinhole, and this is depending if there's a Giordano, this is probably one of the better uses for pinhole.
Mm-hmm. And there's a Vitruvius. Drawing again.
Yeah, your basic action card is really important in this matchup.
Yeah, I think Arasana definitely has all the tools to handle this kind of deck. Maybe not necessarily the influence for Clot, but again, I think there's a lot of things you can spend influence on in Shaper, in Arasana in particular, where you might not even need the Clot, right?
Yeah. And of course, we failed to mention this, but Arasana is out here on 54 cards, going just a little extra large on deck, because sometimes you see Shapers go up to 47 because you have this card-hungry engine.
Mm-hmm. I suspect that might be some kind of Gachapon deck, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah, there's Gatekeeper. The one you don't have on the table, but of course, you are Arasana.
Yeah. And I the Corp clearly very determined to get that Rashida to come. Oh, there we go. You say the one you don't have, but you've always got the Phaserum in hand.
Well, no, that was dropped from a Muse.
Yeah. Well, still, you can always have the one you need in hand with Muse. Right.
Yeah. So if you're on some kind of Aesop's engine, you'd love for a Muse to stick around and to sell it back, but this is sports. We don't have time to have a long-term economy.
Yeah. And I think the Arasana here, of course, just wanting to make sure that as much as possible, just keep the Corp down to 0 money. Because, you need money to res those moon pools, to activate the Hendrix, to even get any amount of core damage. I think you typically need at least, a little bit of money. Unless you get lucky and they manage to hit in Nightmare Archive, which, could very well be in the bin right now.
Yeah, so also of note, we saw red level clearance used as subliminal messaging mode, just clicklessly gain a credit. And then put a card into the remote that the runner has the Physarum Entangler for and can likely get into. But no check, and get away with the Hyperloop. You're not always looking to score that, but I guess this was the greatest call of the runner to make the corp spend their time scoring it instead of letting the corp gain 5 credits for a click.
Yeah.
All right. Jai is saying, NSG, can you end this particular screen? I think someone double clicked something. I think the YouTube page does have 2 streams going.
I was about to say, I think I had read a comment that I didn't see on elsewhere, so
We are double live, yes. So we are live for both the November 23rd APAC AMT and the 2025 online districts.
yeah, because
All right, 1 second. I will go figure out what's happening with that.
yeah, because I just saw
Stream.
had the right title in the Slack notification.
All right. I'll see if I have the chat on the right one.
I was wondering because you were reacting to things that were definitely not in my chat.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the stream will be going down. One of the streams will be going down briefly as I try and fix this. Our apologies for the inconvenience.